Okay, welcome my friends to the show that never ends, and yeah, we're back here again at MJT's Wickham Wanderers Plus, and it's the Monday night football show. Now, after last week's really heavy, depressing, but truthful show about how dreadful the owners of Newcastle are, etc. We're going to get on and we're going to have a different sort of show. This is going to be far more light-hearted. It's going to be far more friendly and a good laugh, and we're going to whip through the topics instead of spending sort of 20 minutes on one thing. So I've got lots of one-liners on here that I want Kieran to quickly think of things about those one-liners, but I'm okay. That seems fair enough, does it? Yeah. Okay. So what do we normally do at this time? It's usually question time, isn't it? Kieran's quiz time. Okay. Let's get down to Kieran's quiz time straight away then, and we have the first 5 questions, and they are the second set of 5 questions about Jurgen Klopp. Jurgen, is that right?
Why, how would you pronounce it? It's not Jurgen, is it?
No. I was trying to get the hang of one of the young leaders at my youth club. Her name is Imogen. It's actually Imogen, and it's spelled Imogen, and that took me a few a few goes. Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't even bother.
No. Number 1. What did he, that is Jurgen, what did he describe himself as at his first press conference?
Are we getting multiple choice or
you
not?
You can if you need it.
I don't know.
Okay.
It's the normal one.
Oh, that's the answer, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Isn't it?
Yeah, well, I've got down the arrogant one, the goofy one, or the normal one. So I'm
it's the normal
guessing,
one.
Yeah, you're right. You said the normal one. What is the tactic he is most known for? Now, I'll give you the answers to these. There's counter-attacking, counterfeiting, or counter-pressing.
Counter-pressing.
Okay. Klopp is a proponent of, oh my lord, Gegenpressing, a counter-pressing tactic in which the team, after losing possession of the ball, immediately attempts to win back possession rather than falling back to regroup. There you go.
Well, someone's just made that up.
I reckon.
Gigapressing. No.
I don't know.
Don't think that's real.
What did Liverpool finish at the end of his first season in charge? 4th, 6th, or 8th?
8th.
8th, you're correct. 8th. Who was the first player he bought for Liverpool? Do you need the names?
Oh, I'll try and think of it. What's his name? Is it Ragnar Klavan? Is his name on there?
No.
All right, give me the list then.
Marko Grujic, Loris Karius, I presume that was the goalkeeper, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And Sadio Mane.
I think it's Grujic.
It was. He was the first player Klopp bought for Liverpool, joining from Red Star Belgrade in 2016 for 5.1 million. What happened to him then?
We've sent him out on loan to Porto in, I think, 5 of the 6 seasons he's been with us. So I don't
he's still a player then, is he? Still with Liverpool?
I think so. I could be wrong. We might have just sold him in that window. Let's just gone past.
Okay. When did he win his first Premier League Manager of the Season award? 2017, 18, 18, 19, 19, 20.
Well, I would assume 1920 when they actually won it.
You're correct. So you've got all of them right, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got 5 out of 5 so far. So now we go to the English Premier League. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. That's a bit unlucky. Straight into a Liverpool question.
Oh,
Steven
fantastic.
Gerrard's slip proved costly for Liverpool.
Nice.
Try not to cry.
Mm.
In the 2013-14 season, can you name the Chelsea player that went on to score after Gerrard's slip?
Demba Ba.
You're correct, Demba Ba. And which Stoke City player scored from his own half at Stamford Bridge?
Charlie Adam.
You're right, Charlie Adam. Are you keeping up with this, Paul? And your other mate. Which Manchester United player was sent off in their 4-1 home defeat to Liverpool in March 2009? These are all about Liverpool. Bit up there. Go on then, sorry.
Because I'm 8 years old at that point, and yeah, I still know it. It's Nemanja Vidic.
How do you know it?
I don't know. It's a little bit sad, mate. It's 12 years ago.
Yeah. Which player scored from his own half against Newcastle for Liverpool? The game was in September 2006.
Xabi Alonso.
Yeah. And last but not least, which Manchester City, you could get 10 out of 10 here, which Manchester City player scored against his former club Arsenal and ran the length of the pitch to celebrate in front of his former team's fans?
Emmanuel Adebayor.
You're right there. You're right there. Well, how about that? You've got 10 out of 10.
Wow.
Blimey,
sad,
it's
though.
been a while. It's been a while. So, in fact, I won't be able to play that sad tune after this one. It's going to have to be the happy tune.
Oh, well, you have a happy and a sad tune that you play after these?
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah. Okay, here it goes then. The happy tune.
My word.
Okay, that's good because we haven't had the happy tune for well, ever, actually, thinking about it. Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, Wickham Wanderers. Now, I can't show the clip. It won't let me. There was a bit of dispute last time, but there was a little point showing it this time. Why is that, Kieran?
Because the first goal wasn't in it.
That's right. They missed the first goal out.
I mean, to be fair, it wasn't that great. So it wasn't missing.
I don't know. I didn't see it. Well,
have you not seen
actually,
it? I was going to say, you must have seen it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's dreadful. It's Sky TV. What a load of rubbish. Not as good as ours. What? Well, Wickham win again.
Yeah. I mean, we should have done, though. 2-0 away to Doncaster at bottom of the table.
Well, you don't have to. I mean, I remember a little game, Liverpool-Watford, not so long ago. Was it 2 years ago?
It was still won the league, though.
Wasn't it 4-0 to Watford?
3-0. But we still won the league, so...
Right, yeah, all right. Yeah, well, we're going to. Do you know, Wickham have won their last 7 at home, but that's been against teams all below 11th. And we've only dropped points against all those above 11th. So I don't know whether that's good or bad, really.
Well, if you beat every single team below 11th, that's 24 wins during the season, 26 wins during the season. And
that's good enough.
Yeah, supposedly, as long as you get a couple of wins/draws against the top ones.
Oh, well, we'll take that then. As long as we
Yeah.
beat everybody below us or below.
If you literally beat everyone, then yeah, it should be fine.
That's
To say
all
that
right.
consistency will stay like that is, probably doubtful, but you would take it to some extent.
I listened to a pod thingy by a Doncaster fan. He wasn't too hopeful going to the game. He wasn't too hopeful when he was at the game, and he was pretty sad leaving the game, which is understandable. But it seemed to be one of those, again, the boring 2-0 win for Wickham, where they do all the business in the first 15 minutes and then they pack their bags and sit there. Because it seemed to suggest all the chances that Doncaster, all the chances after 15 minutes were Doncaster's, but none of them were very good chances.
Well, they hit the bar once, didn't they?
But basically meant that Wickham kept them out.
Yeah. It's fine if that keeps happening. You win 2-0 and you shut them out. However, the one or two times in which the other team come back to draw 2-2 or something, we'll, as fans, obviously be quite disgruntled at the fact that we know that we could have gone on and scored a few more and taken a bit more of a risk. So as long as it stays like this and we do keep winning 2-0, 2-1, whatever, then fine. But you can imagine that Wickham aren't perfect. We're not going to keep doing that. At some point it will, or potentially might come back to bite us. So
corner. Was it a corner, the first one?
The first one was, yeah.
Yeah. So Jacobson corner with remind me his name, scored. Stewart on the back post, heading the ball in the net. Don't these teams know what they're doing? I mean, how many goals have been Jacobson corners with Stewart on the back post?
True. But I mean, it was the thing I said a couple of weeks ago, is that you fear more the person who's practiced something, the same thing 1,000 times, than someone who's practiced 1,000 things one time. And evidently we do practice it an awful lot, because it is where we score a lot of our goals, from balls to the back post. So much so that do you know Soccer AM, like the Sky Sports show they do in the morning of Saturday?
Yeah.
The one time they went to Wickham to do a challenge or whatever, the challenge they did at Wickham was a ball to the back post. Ainsworth thinks it's one of the best, kind of tactics in football. And with the players we have, it kind of is true. And at that point, I mean, Akinfenwa rolled back the years to 2018-19, didn't he? I mean, how many times have we seen that goal? Where it loops.
Both of Wickham's goals were just paperwork, weren't they? Ainsworth had written them down beforehand. We're going to score 2 goals. This is how we're going to score them. And sure enough, they went out there and scored.
Because what I can imagine was that the Doncaster team would have worked on themselves the whole week, would have seen that they're playing Wickham at the weekend, been like, oh crap, Akinfenwa might play. Be strong against him, and obviously you're not going to be strong enough because you haven't had the practice against anyone like him, and hence why he gets his goal. So it's probably a little bit against Wickham. You do have to look at Wickham. You can't just look at yourselves, because we're a completely different team to everyone else.
So it would seem. I'm sure a lot of teams say that, but I think you're right. That is true. Wickham are unique in the type of football. I don't know. I was listening to a thing today when it was talking about going to see non-league football, and it was saying that don't people find it boring to just the boot up front? And the guy was saying it's not like that anymore. Even in non-league football, these players have been to academies and then not made it, but they've been practicing all their teenage lives in these academies at passing the ball out the back. It's what they do now. You don't. But Wickham seem to, like we discussed last week, seem to have got their own thing. Ainsworth seems to have got his own thing, doesn't he? Gonna miss him when he's gone, I have to be honest. Let's just take a quickie look at this division that we're in and have a look at a couple of those other sort of scores. We've got Wimbledon, Sheffield Wednesday was a 2-2. Now, Sheffield Wednesday, I'm a bit disappointed with Sheffield Wednesday. I know they came down with very few decent players, but most of the other teams in this division didn't have any decent players either.
No.
They're 7th. With 19 points. Well, you see, there's the top 5 with just a goal difference of 23 to 26. And then there's a gap down to 19.
Points of 23 to 26.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said goal difference. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Whereas 19 points and Wickham and Plymouth have 26. That's a 7-point difference after 12 games. That's pretty big, actually, to try and sort of, get in there, I think. That's a big difference.
You have a look at the teams that they've dropped points to. They lost 3-0 to Plymouth, who are top of the league.
Okay.
Drew 1-0 against Shrewsbury, which isn't great. Drew 1-0 against Ipswich, which isn't great.
It's their draws, isn't it? They're drawing them all. They're not.
Yeah. But then you can obviously see where their championship quality comes from, because they did beat Wigan away from home, which is no mean feat.
That's right. And Wimbledon aren't doing particularly great down there in 17th either.
No.
And then we come to the Bolton Wigan. Now that was an interesting one, where Wigan beat Bolton 4-0. Wigan had looked good, don't they? I mean, they actually have played one less game than Wickham, and they're sitting there with 25 points, with Wickham and Plymouth, who've played 2 more games than Wigan, with just 1 point more. So Wigan will probably head up to the top of that league again with that goal. Yeah. Along with Sunderland. I mean, that is tight, isn't it? Though, I mean, that top 4 are tight. Well, top 5, in fact. Yeah. Top 5, very tight. We've got to beat some of those, though, haven't we?
Yeah. I mean,
when do we play Rotherham? And we've got that's next Tuesday.
Yeah.
Rotherham are in 5th. That's an important game for Wickham. We're away to Rotherham.
It's just a couple of those that you do need to start winning, as long as you do beat the bottom teams. It was like when we played Oxford away, it would have been quite nice to win that.
Yeah.
Because they're 9th, and I mean, just going off of like what happens in the Premier League, like the games against different teams do matter. Like, so Liverpool draw against Brentford, Chelsea go and beat Brentford, hence why they're above Liverpool now. It's kind of the same here, because you can imagine that a few teams will beat Oxford away, and us dropping points there could be somewhat costly.
I mean, we don't actually hit any of these other big teams for a little while, actually. Looking at that, the next really, I mean, you got Ipswich, which should probably be further up. But the next time we go anywhere near that top 5 is in January the 8th when we play at home to Sunderland.
No, we got Plymouth on the 23rd of November.
Oh, so we have, yes.
And then Sheffield Wednesday on the 27th of November.
Yeah, so they're both away as well. So they're nice ones. I'd take the draws. I'd take the draws with those. Sorry. But yeah, I mean 4-0. I mean Wigan beating Bolton 4-0, great. And then Cambridge and Ipswich. Well, Ipswich cocked it up yet again. They were 2-1 in front. In fact, I think they were 2-0 in front after. Well, in the first half. Oh no, and then Cambridge got a goal back just before half time. But they were 2-0 up. And they let it go again, you know.
They are struggling a little bit. They're starting to find their feet. They've won 2 of the last 5, but they are still.
They got a great striker up front, Sonny Aluko.
Yeah.
He looks a star. He's doing his business, putting that ball in the net for him. So it's obviously at the back there a bit. You know,
yeah,
they're not watertight, are they?
I mean, you can never completely tell based off of these things. However, this is the analysis you get on this show. The numbers, you have the number 44 at right back, number 55 at defensive midfielder, and number 31 in goal, suggesting that they're not their kind of like first choice. They're kind of, or they could be young players just coming in. That's all I can kind of grasp from that. I can try and see.
Well, Crewe lost 3-0 to Fleetwood. And that's good because we played Crewe on Saturday and we're at
the bottom as well.
And they're near the bottom anyway. They're worth giving a good hiding to as well. Let's get our goal difference up.
I was going to say that's something we need to have a little look at, is our goal difference. Because it, apart from Sunderland, it is the worst in the top 6, I think. Oh, Milton Keynes got 5, but yeah, I mean Wigan are on 14, kind of thing.
Yeah,
they're quite way above us.
We could, because that might end up counting in this. You know, having 5 teams going for the 2 top places, with it being so tight, we might find the goal difference might end up counting, and we'll really kick ourselves if we don't take the opportunities. Another game worth mentioning is the Sunderland beating Gillingham 2-1 away. Just keep winning, don't they? Sunderland, the goal machine. They keep doing it. Lincoln, I've been disappointed with so far. Lincoln, I would have thought would be better off than they are. Lincoln are way down there. Lincoln are 13th, 15 points. And I was expecting more from them, but then we got 3 really happy scores there. Well, I think so. Plymouth. I mean, did I want them to lose? Don't know. I mean, I suppose it would have helped for a draw or something. Beating Oxford 3-1. And poor old Oxford, very disappointed because I'm sure they played the better football.
Probably.
Yeah.
They always do, don't they?
Because they passed the better football. Yeah.
Better than Man City, I heard.
Yeah, they're not the richest team in the world like Newcastle, but they're definitely the best team in the world.
Yeah.
Rotherham, Portsmouth 4-1. Rotherham. Well, they're
finding their feet.
Portsmouth, all their parachute money has gone, hasn't it? And isn't it showing? I mean, they kept on missing, and they've got a great bloke up front. I'm afraid his name doesn't really stand out, but I can pronounce it. That's Smith.
Nice. Well done, mate.
Yeah. He's actually doing pretty well. He's shot accuracy, they've got him down as 80%. I mean, and that ain't bad, really. He got a really high rating on everything as well. He's 30, I believe. So, I mean, does that count as sort of, coming into his
Prime?
As I love that prime age range. What is it exactly? Is it different depending where you are on the pitch, do you reckon?
Isn't it? It's older for goalkeepers, isn't it? For some random reason.
It should have been when you didn't have the pass back before they changed the pass back, because all they had to do was stand between the sticks. Now they have to play football and run. So they have to be a bit fitter. So I wonder whether, they could be a 1 or 2.
Yeah, but not that fit, flipping heck. Mentally fit, maybe, but not physically. Yeah, no, I'd say you're in your prime, aren't you? So
could be any age. 58, really.
Yeah,
58. Both of their managers, though, Rotherham, Paul Warne, and then you got Danny Cowley at Portsmouth. Just to say, we didn't mention managers and who's been sacked this week. Do you know none yet? Oh. But I think our friend old Danny Cowley, I can't see he's got long left.
No. Well, they must have won one of the last 9, kind of thing.
Well, I mean, I reckon. I mean, they're sitting 12th. How many they won? They've won four games out of the 12.
Well, because they were top, weren't they? When they won 3 and drew 1. They were level on points with us, so they can't have won. Well, they've only won 1 in the last 9 or 10. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, not good at all. Not good at all. Sorry, Portsmouth. Poor old Portsmouth, eh?
I know,
disappointed. Right? And MK Dons lost 1-0, similar to Oxford in the way they play. Very, very similar. In fact, they play the same style of football. So we're doing all right, aren't we? We're holding our own. Do you know, they reckon they only gave us the odds against Wickham going up were very poor, again, which was a bit of a strange one, because I thought we'd stand a good chance. Was it 25-1, I think, was the chances of Wickham going up, which I thought was pretty poor considering the way we finished the season off.
Yeah. Maybe they think that other teams have a bit more financial power, and of course they do. But
we're not that bad though, are we?
Well, I suppose you could put Newcastle up there for winning the Champions League next season then.
Okay, Kieran. Now we're going to hit the topics with sort of, just sort of little chat, bit of a laugh, bit of fun this time instead of discussing, human rights.
We don't have fun on this show, do we?
Yeah. Right, here we go. Here's a couple of funny little things. I love this one because it's Alex Ferguson, and I don't like Alex Ferguson. It's his fault that Man United bought Ronaldo. That's his fault. And now, so when Alex Ferguson was caught driving on the hard shoulder of the M602 in February 1999, his defence in court was perhaps a tad more embarrassing than if he had just taken a fine and penalty points. He had to get to the toilet, was his excuse. He was suffering from a problem that caused severe diarrhea. And as his doctor explained in court when he was stuck in a traffic jam and had an urgent need to visit a toilet, he had one of 2 choices. One is unthinkable and one is to take evasive action. So he headed down the hard shoulder. He added, it's not easy for someone in his position to come into court and, with respect, explain his toilet difficulties on that day. I thought you'd like that one.
So,
funny. They found him not guilty. Can you believe they?
Really?
Yeah.
These are related to football, so of course he's not guilty.
And he had diarrhea, so he was allowed to drive up the hard shoulder.
Surely you... Flipping heck, mate. Flipping heck, Alex.
And talking of travelling to Iceland for a European Championship qualifier in May 1990, the Albania squad found themselves at Heathrow Airport waiting for a connecting flight. All 37 of the travelling Albanian players and management, coaches and doctors were then arrested when it was found that they had helped themselves to £1,000 worth of items from the shops without paying. In their defence, they claimed that they didn't get out much. They didn't get out much and thought duty free meant all free. They weren't charged and had a close police escort when they were finally returned to the airport. So they just thought duty free meant they could nick everything, and they took £1,000 worth of stuff out of these shops.
I wouldn't have said £1,000 is too bad because we got 37 people there. Like, considering the shops that are there, like flipping it, you could nick them a lot more than that.
Now, and the last story is football on this day, back on the 18th of October in 1961, 2 years before I was born.
Yeah.
Second division strugglers Stoke City paid £3,500 to buy a 46-year-old player to improve their fortunes. It worked. The last home league match before he arrived attracted 8,400 fans. But in the first match after he arrived, they had 35,974. The player they had brought back from Blackpool was Stanley Matthews, who made his league debut for Stoke back in 1932 and who would go on playing until he was 50. Amazing or what? I don't know whether he was in goal. I doubt it.
No. I mean, he's only 8 years younger than you.
Yeah. Amazing.
Did you play professional football?
Probably not. No, probably not.
Oh, no. Okay.
So, Kieran, here's your really complicated. You won't see too many people discussing this on TV. Can you hoof a header? That's the question I have for you.
Hoof a header?
Can you hoof up the pitch a header?
Personally, I'm not very good at headers, so probably not.
But is a hoof?
But you can. You can.
Or is it a header? Can you hoof?
No, it's a boot.
Is it? Why? Why do you think this?
Because it requires the ball to go very high, very quickly, and very far. And I'm not sure you can do all those things with a header unless the ball is literally whacked at you.
Right. So you're saying you can't hoof a header?
Not particularly.
So what do you call a header that you just bang forward then? Have you got a name you can call it?
It's just a big header, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't think you have a real name for that sort of.
Let's see. Can we not think of one? Boing a header. What is it? Boing a header?
Explode a header.
My speaker's just gone on my right hand side. Did that the other day.
Yeah. No, you have to buy a new one, mate. Add to your collection of speakers.
Yeah. There we go. I've got you back. Right. Okay, then. That was my first simple little question before we get going.
Oh, okay.
Here's the next question. Man. Poor old Steve Bruce. Okay. We can discuss the Newcastle game in a moment. But I need to look this up, actually. And that is, where does Steve Bruce go next? Okay.
Go next?
Yeah. Well, he's going to lose this job, isn't he?
Well, I think he'll have a bit of a break, to be honest with you. I think he's a bit worn out after all that's been going on, to be honest.
Well, maybe, but he keeps getting sacked. So where does he go next? What would suit him the best? What would you reckon? So we need to have a look where he's been, really, don't we? So let's go on Wikipedia. Can we trust Wikipedia with this?
Yeah,
I reckon.
Wikipedia is actually a lot better than a lot of people make it out to be.
So he's been at Sheffield United, Huddersfield, Wigan, Crystal Palace, Birmingham, Wigan again, Sunderland, Hull, Aston Villa, Sheffield Wednesday, and Newcastle. So he's done both Sheffields. He's done both Birmingham teams, Aston Villa and Birmingham. And he's done Sunderland and Newcastle. So, along with the others. So, where do we reckon? What team do you think would suit Steve Bruce next?
I mean, he hasn't actually been given a decent team, has he? In all fairness, it's a bit difficult to say because obviously, I mean, Watford will have a position clear soon, won't they? I don't think it'll take long for Ranieri to get sacked.
No. Performance.
Norwich.
Now there's an idea. So if they go down, because he has managed to take actually promotion, hasn't he?
Yeah, Birmingham. He got Birmingham promoted.
Yeah, he twice led Birmingham to promotion to the Premier League. He actually resigned from one of them. He wasn't even sacked. It was same.
Yeah, and he's got Hull up twice as well. So from the Championship, he's got 4 teams from 2 teams promoted on 4 occasions. So it's not like he can't do it.
So he's really a Championship guy to get you promoted. So Norwich would be good, wouldn't it?
I don't know if they probably would be.
I was wondering about sort of, like the England women's team or something, but I thought I was being a bit unfair to them. They wouldn't want him around, would they?
No, they would not.
No.
They've got a German manager now, the England women's team, which I thought was just quite interesting.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know. Depends who it is, I suppose. I mean, I'd imagine we'd be quite happy with Jurgen, but then if it was just a random German bloke, I can't imagine the country as a whole would be too happy.
He was actually a player in his youth. He was at Gillingham, and he actually played for Gillingham for 5 years. So that's he scored 29 goals for him as well.
He scored a lot throughout his career, I think.
81 out of 700. So he's scoring 1 goal every 10 games, roughly. But he also, here you go, was a player at Norwich. So actually Norwich would be pretty suitable. He was there for 3 years. Made 141 appearances for them.
Yeah.
So, and they get it perfect because he scored 14 goals. So it was 1 goal every 10 games. Yeah. So that would be I reckon that's your answer, isn't it?
To be fair, having a look at his managerial record, it's not absolutely horrendous. I'm not saying it's great, but his win percentage is 37.6, which is actually okay. It doesn't sound great. 37.6% win rate, which is not obviously not up there with the greats, but we're not. Wikipedia. I'm probably on the same website.
Because I've actually got it down as 33.3%.
No, 37.
Out of 1,000 games, his win ratio is 33.3%.
Well, he's won 376 games.
Oh, right.
Out of 1,000, so yeah.
Yeah. That's good, isn't it? That is pretty good.
I think he is a little bit better than he's made out to be. But then in saying that, a lot of his success was with Birmingham, which was a while ago, as with Hull. Since 2016, he hasn't done fantastically.
5 years. No.
Aston Villa, he wasn't bad with, but he wasn't great with it, I think.
He obviously shouldn't take good teams. I don't mean Newcastle were good. I mean, he shouldn't take teams in the Premier League, should he? He's a championship manager when you have the top half team and he manages to get them up.
Yeah.
And so Middlesbrough would be one, for instance. He's not done Middlesbrough. It's in the perfect part of the country for him as well. So we're going to, say Middlesbrough or Norwich? Norwich are going to have a place, aren't they?
They must do. I mean, they've done it before where they've gone down with this manager, haven't they? They can't do it twice in a row.
Can't do. They just keep, no, they can't.
Oh, did you see I know we're going to probably talk about all of it later, but did you see the Norwich versus Brighton highlights? Yeah. And there was a guy who missed the open goal.
Yes.
That annoyed me so much.
Yes.
You could have kicked the ball harder than that.
Oh, well, thank you.
I know. No worries.
It would have stopped, even if the player hadn't got to it to kick it away. It wouldn't have gone over the line, would it?
No, that's what I was wondering. Like, the defender put it out for a corner. It was like, you had a lot more time than that, fella.
Yeah.
You could have just played about with it for half an hour.
Yeah, I reckon. Yeah. No, okay, so we've sorted out Steve Bruce's career. He's Middlesbrough or Norwich, we reckon then.
Yeah. Good luck, Steve.
Norwich fans start to worry. Okay. Next topic was in a pub, watching football in a pub. What annoys you about watching football in a pub? Do you, for a start?
Not particularly.
You don't? Oh, well, that's not a good answer.
No, I've watched it in a pub numerous times. Okay. I mean, England this summer, we can use an example. Okay.
Well, I've got a few things written down that can be really annoying about watching football in a pub to sort of mention. One is when they can't find the right channel. Really, really irritating, isn't it? So you sit there, they wait till the last possible moment to start looking for the football, and you can't get off the bloody motorsport to find the game. And you're sitting there and you're waiting and you miss the first 5 minutes and the first 2 goals. That's the first thing that I find irritating about pub football. Have you got anything you want
to... Can I just shout ones out at any point?
Yeah.
Maybe if you've got Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher in front of you who think they can analyse the game as well as they can, and they look behind you and like, flipping Sterling should have run that way instead of that way, and you're like, shut up.
Right.
They try and act as if they know a lot more than they actually do.
Yes. Yeah. The other one is when you get the people that can't turn off the subtitles because they behind the bar they're pressing all the buttons and up come the subtitles and it covers that much of the screen. And you can't see the ball bouncing. It goes below the subtitles and you can't see it. That's one for me. And another one is putting music on at half time. Just because I'd rather sit and have a listen maybe at half time, instead of which you get Queen over the top as they sort of fiddle around.
Wait, you're saying you want to sit and listen at half time?
Well, really, I don't want to listen to
Queen. That's unlike you.
I just don't want to listen to Queen is more the thing. And I want to know what's the correct etiquette during a minute's silence when the football is on TV in a pub. You know, when... I mean, should we all just shut up and listen for that 1 minute silence for the guy that's sort of, fell off his bike while travelling to the game, and they're going to have a minute.
It's not quite like that. It's not quite like that, is it? Flipping heck.
And
it's only like a club legend or something. It's not a bloke who's fallen off his bike, is it?
Well, actually, yeah, I'd see. They keep going on and on about anybody who supported Wickham. You seem to have a 1 minute silent thing, and nobody's ever heard of him. Or you have to clap for a minute. Now, fair enough. I'm not putting that down. But I've never heard of them. And so when Liverpool are playing Real Madrid and they're having a minute silence for somebody from Real Madrid or from Madrid who and they're having a minute silence in the pub, are we all supposed to stop? Or do we just talk over the top and not care?
I think I don't see why you shouldn't stop and just listen/watch it. Like, I understand what you mean, but at the same time, it's like it doesn't take an awful lot of energy for you to just sit there for a minute.
Right. So that's what you
don't. Well, I mean, it depends what the atmosphere in the pub is like. That's another thing, because there will be people who will just spout loads of rubbish during it. And so there's almost not much point because, it's kind of difficult to concentrate on what you're supposed to be thinking about. But yeah, I think you might as well. And also for the things they do at Wickham and the like, they give a round of applause for whoever. I think it's nice for the family and all their friends and kind of thing, even if you don't know them per se.
Yeah, I agree with that. So are you going to do that for me?
Well, this is what I was just about to ask. Would you want it?
No, really.
I suppose similarly, people might not know who you are at Wickham.
Oh. Well, of course.
Apart from me and the people you stand next to, potentially.
Exactly. Yeah. Did you know that on the screen in the pub, you have that pint glass in the bottom right-hand corner, don't you?
Yeah.
Meaning that it's sort of, they've paid, that's what they're saying, it means it's not a stolen channel, because you don't get it on, you're watching all the football, do you? Because you've nicked it. Yeah, pirated it on your computer. Well, on theirs, of course, they have that pint thing to say they haven't pirated, that they've paid for it. Did you know in Italy, it's actually a champagne glass they have in the bottom right corner, not a pint glass? So
isn't
it? Yeah, a bit more class there, I feel, in the bars. Yeah.
Well, it's their national drink, I suppose.
Yeah. So there you go.
Beer's our national drink. That's their national drink.
Yeah. I wonder what they have in China, whether it's a teapot. What else could you have?
In Germany, you could have a sausage.
A sausage in Germany. Yeah. That's a bit of kangaroo in Australia. Yeah.
A spider in New Zealand.
Oh, right. You fear of spiders in New Zealand, obviously. Yeah.
Sheep in Wales. Rain in Scotland.
Rain, just sort of down the side in Scotland.
A baguette in France.
But yeah, so
amongst other things.
Yeah. So there you go. There's a bit of interesting bit of information there, and also when you go to the pub to watch the games, if you go on your own, which I've done, sad, all alone, don't have any friends.
Sorry.
How it's measuring the pint, isn't it? How much to drink and when. Because when the game finishes, the pub empties. but you don't want to sit there for the second half with an empty glass. But you don't want to drink too much either. So it's measuring the sips in the first half and measuring your sips in the second. So you finish the drink just as the final whistle is blown.
Or you just get 2 drinks to begin with. Then you don't want to go for a pee during the second half, I suppose.
No, see, you have to be careful. That's the other thing, is measuring your quantity of alcohol during the game is the other thing I find.
You need like a big injury around the 60th minute mark, don't you? It's like a 3-minute injury so that you can go off for a pee and come back.
So, is there anything else you want to say watching football in pubs? Anything good or bad? I don't like.
So it can be. What's that?
I don't like the fact that people can reserve a table in a pub for a football match.
Why?
Well, you turn up to watch it, and there's all the tables being reserved by people. Seems a bit unfair. It's a pub.
Well, if that's
like.
Yeah, but pubs try to be a bit more posh these days, don't they? Some of them, anyway. Yeah, I can understand why it's annoying, but then as long as you know that that's what that pub does, then you can reserve your own table, I suppose.
For one.
Yeah.
I'd like to reserve a table. How many? One. Yes.
Yeah, it'd be a bit awkward to say, wouldn't it? They just give you the one in the corner.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Now, I'm going to spring something on you that is, I'll tell you a couple of little funny stories first, and I'll spring something horrible on you.
Thank you.
Non-league football, I mentioned this to Paul on Friday night, but it's really funny. In the Isthmian League, Wickham used to play in the Isthmian League, Kingstonian were 2-0 up against Potter's Bar with 20 minutes to go.
Yeah.
And the game was called off. And when the Kingstonian manager went up to the referee to ask the exact reason, it was because the linesman feared for his safety because the puddle was obstructing him.
What?
And he called the game off. The puddle, right. There was a puddle, and the linesman felt unsafe. And so he called the game off with 20 minutes to go. That's true. That was last week. That was last week.
Everton had a bet on, didn't they, for the other team to win?
I mean, that's shocking, isn't it? And the other one, the other funny thing in non-league football last week, it's only last week, I'm not, these aren't history lessons, was a Bognor player got 2 yellow cards when being substituted for wasting time. In the same substitution, he got 2 yellow cards and therefore got his red, and they couldn't bring on the substitute. Does that ever happen?
I don't understand how you can be that dumb, though. Like, surely, if you get the first one, you're like, oh, let's make sure I don't get the second. You've already wasted enough time because the refs had to come over and give you a yellow card. Like, you've done your job. Just get off the pitch.
Oh, it's
just silly, isn't it?
And another of these quick fire questions: Newcastle or Manchester United to win the league first?
Oh, that's a good question, actually. No, it will be United because I think they'll sack Ollie soon. And once they do that, they might actually turn into a decent football team.
And how long do you think, therefore, Newcastle are going to take to be top?
I reckon it's going to be at least 10 years.
10? You're going to give it 10 years?
They still have... So first and foremost, they have to build a half-decent team, decent team, better team, amazing team. They've still got like 4 or 5 like kind of transitions they have to go through. Because at the moment, they're a shit team. They're bottom. Like they're bottom of the barrel.
No, say what you think, Kieran. Say what you think.
I will. They are trash.
Yeah.
And they've got a while until they actually become a half decent team. And it's
Be-
not like Liverpool and Man City are going to get worse.
And what about
So-
United? Do you think United can win the league in the next 10 years?
Yeah, surely.
Right. Okay, so we can. So you think they're going to do it within 10 years? Okay, and you think that's down to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer being sacked?
Yeah, he's. I don't understand how he's still there. If they give him to the end of the season, I'd be so shocked because they'll fall behind the top three surely, and they're not going to keep up. The way that they're playing, like Maguire for crying out loud. Gee whiz.
Shocking. Yeah, absolutely shocking.
I mean, I suppose some of that you can kind of argue isn't really down to Solskjaer, but it is. And even like United's 2 goals, like you can't say they're down to the manager, surely, because the first one is him cutting inside and giving it a whack. It's not so much tactical play, and then Rashford's goal is not a goal that's going to happen every game. It's not like that's a classic Man United goal. It's just they're just trash.
Okay, moving on then. The next line is celebrating goals, including not celebrating goals. Akinfenwa, we were playing Doncaster, who he last played for 17 years previous. And he didn't celebrate because he used to play for them.
Yeah.
Really? Really? Isn't that just a bit sort of, pathetic?
I mean, I feel like maybe he feels as if he celebrates, then it's somewhat showing disrespect. But the only way you can really show disrespect to your former team through celebrating is if you really go over the top with it.
Well,
and
go running around doing that, don't they?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. If you do that, then fair enough, you are a twat. However, if you do the one where it's kind of like that, then yeah. If it's in front of their fans, I can understand. But if you're in front of the Wickham fans, like, have a bit of a celebration.
I just think that's gone a little. I just think you're happy to dive and hack players over and get a penalty when it's not a penalty, and you're happy to do all that, but don't celebrate if you score a goal. It's the whole sort of be friendly in football thing.
You don't like being friendly, do you?
Well, it's that they seem to pick out moments to be nice, and then they're nasty the rest of the time. And it just seems to me it's a bit like the throw-ins, when you give the ball back. Bloody go for a goal. Go for the goal. I mean, don't give the ball back. Why give the goalkeeper the ball back? I don't.
They had the ball to begin with.
So what? You're trying to win the game. I don't understand. Sometimes football is a bit, pretends it's being nice when it isn't. And I think if you're going to score a goal, bloody well celebrate it. If you don't want to celebrate, you shouldn't have scored it in the first place.
I know what you mean in terms of like, if you're going to give the ball back, then you shouldn't dive and all that sort of thing. However, just showing like a little elements of it, you probably should do. You should be nice at some point.
I always loved that Leeds. Who was it?
Aston Villa.
And the whole thing of we'll let them Aston Villa run up the other end and score a goal now. And there was one Leeds player that just couldn't bring himself to let it happen, could he?
It was Janssen, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Janssen's a right mong.
He just
honestly.
couldn't not try to stop him, even though he knew. So he sort of like half went to stop him at least.
Yeah.
And I thought, that's more like it. That's what that's better. I like that.
Yeah, I compare Janssen to Ramos in terms of his, kind of cruelty and anger. Not a very nice man, in my opinion.
He's a Leeds player, though. That's the thing. And talking of Leeds, next one. See, we're whizzing through it. Nice and light-hearted, this one. Next one. Football food. Now, we don't usually eat football food, do we? As in burgers and pies and things at the ground.
I see. No.
Yeah. But why do they sell pies? Because inside it's so flipping hot you burn your tongue. And on the outside, they've just taken it, they put it in a microwave, take the packet off and give you a plastic fork that when you put it in, it melts. But it's the worst possible thing to eat in the cold, in the rain, behind the goal with a plastic fork. I mean, it's the most, dumb. Who chose to sell a pie at football?
Yeah, but it sounds like a good idea if you're the consumer, and therefore the consumers buy it, and therefore they keep on selling it, despite the fact it's not a very good idea. They should sell like mini pizzas or something. Nah, people would throw them, wouldn't they? Don't know.
Well, we had the player last week we mentioned.
Fabregas, yeah.
Fabregas threw the pizza at Ferguson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't really do that, I suppose.
The reason I mentioned Leeds was because at Elland Road, this is true. I have to say that because it sounds so ridiculous. They do a meal deal. 1 pint and a packet of crisps. That's meal deal 1. And
It's just
can I have a meal deal 1, please?
It's horrendous, isn't it?
Of crisps. They don't do a meal deal 2. That's what makes me laugh.
No, is that it?
So that counts as meal deal 1, and there isn't a meal deal 2.
I don't think it'd be very hard for them to make a meal deal 2, surely.
I don't know. What's that?
It's not very encouraging.
Half a pint and half a packet of crisps.
Yeah, it's not very encouraging for me as a kind of fitness person to see that they're calling crisps and a pint a meal. Do you know what I mean? It actually makes my job kind of easier because it makes people
But the fact we're going to watch a sport, maybe it should be more healthy food that you sell at some. So you get a Diet Coke and a salad.
Well, you advertise it as like, this is what Mohamed Salah eats, so you should eat it.
And what does he eat?
Probably protein, veg, all that snazz.
Right. So
rice, pasta.
Right. So you could have your pie, a vegetable pie, without the crust. You just have the vegetables, basically.
We have some vegetables with some gravy.
Yeah.
And say, this is what Mo Salah eats.
Yeah.
Do you want to be like Mo Salah? Well, eat this then.
Yeah. Porridge.
Yeah.
You can buy those little porridge pots.
I'd gladly eat some porridge. I'd gladly eat some porridge game. That'd be great.
That is actually quite a good idea. It's a healthy food. What else? Because what other healthy foods could they sell at a football match?
You can definitely make healthy sandwiches, and people love a sandwich, do they not? I don't see why they couldn't do that. I imagine footballers eat sandwiches. I don't know why they wouldn't. Or pasta. People like pasta. Like some sort of like carbonara type thing. I don't know.
I'll do carbonara. Yeah. Carbonara.
Why? What would you have?
Well, I don't know. I'm just trying to think. I don't eat healthy foods. I can't think of many. I'm having to try and think of things I don't touch.
This world is a bit bamboozling for you, isn't it?
I mean, see, Guinness is good because it's not got many calories, so they could sell Guinness.
Oh yes, it's perfect.
Yeah. And what other foods? Just trying to think what other foods, because everything else they sell is so bad. They do all your bars of chocolate and everything. You see, I mean, so they'd have to sell the health bar things that you eat, protein bars, and that sort of thing. So you can shout louder. and run faster from the police, that sort of thing, yeah?
Increase your fitness and your lung capacity. Eat these protein bars, and you'll be able to support your team better. You'll be able to hit the drum harder from the car park.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
So the players can hear you even more.
Okay, and the last topic that we're going to touch, Kieran, is why do people get a joy from touching the match ball?
It's just funny.
Have you touched the match ball?
I think, did I not have to carry it out one time?
You did, yes. Was it exciting?
No, it was a football.
But the crowd try to get it, don't they? And throw it back on, and the little, you pass it to the little child who can't throw it at all, and we're losing 1-0 with 2 minutes to go, and the dad gives it to the little kid who has to walk over with it, Oh, that's so irritating. Throw the bloody thing onto the pitch. But why do people get a joy out of touching the match ball? And is that the only time you've ever had to catch it?
We must have had to have caught it in the family stand at some point, mustn't we? I don't remember catching it or anything, but we must have done. It's just a thing that there's like humans' brains are wired to go towards something that everyone else is kind of looking at.
Of course, there is the funny story, not so funny, I suppose, but no, it is, about me going to get the match ball and throwing it back onto the pitch.
It's not entirely funny, arguably, but
well, I'll tell it anyway.
Yeah.
Wickham Wanderers were away at Bromley, way back, many years ago in the Isthmian League. I've mentioned the Isthmian League before. And the ball came over the top of the goal. This was away at Bromley. The ball came over the top of the goal. In those days, things weren't quite so nice and plastic. And the behind the goal, it was just gravel and dirt and sort of steps that weren't actually there. And I go running down because they didn't have ball boys. I go running down to throw the match ball back onto the pitch, and I slip and I fall backwards and bang my head on the concrete. They have to get an ambulance for me at Bromley football pitch to take me to hospital. At the same time, 2 players collided on the football pitch. A guy called Ken Wilson was the player for Wickham. I even remember his name. There you go. And they'd already called the ambulance for me. So me, Ken Wilson, and the other player from Bromley all went to hospital in the same ambulance. Did you know that?
I'm not convinced you ever said that. Maybe you did and I can't remember, but I don't remember that.
And when I got to the Bromley hospital, they treated me not really very nicely, because then, back in those days of the 70s, it was worked on the theory if you ended up going to hospital having been at a football match, you were a football hooligan and you were there because of you'd been fighting. And so they just presumed I'd been in a fight and got my head whacked with a stick or something. Anyway, I actually ended up possibly getting epilepsy from it because of the bruise back on the left-hand side of the brain where I whacked my head on the concrete. But the good story is I did manage to touch the football. And I did throw it back onto the pitch. So I got the joy. No, because I threw it and slipped. So I did get that full joy of touching the match.
So it was a bit of a bittersweet moment then.
It was a big moment for me, as well as a pretty sad moment for me. Okay, Kieran, are we going to discuss any other games? Because that's about it for my topics on that I had written down. I thought we'd whiz through lots of different little bits.
I mean,
this week
there haven't been too many hugely exciting games this weekend, have there.
No, not really.
I mean, Wolves scoring 3 in the last 10 minutes beat Aston Villa was pretty funny.
Kane scored a goal.
Oh, Harry Kane scored a goal. Congratulations, Harry.
Admittedly, it was against Newcastle, so it don't count.
It was against Newcastle, so we're not incredibly fast.
Yeah.
United losing 4-2 was hilarious.
Yes, that was good, wasn't it?
As it always is.
Yeah.
Especially with Maguire's mistake and them conceding straight after United scoring. That was good.
I think what's good about that, though, is the great photography that you need at those games, because you have to try to catch Ronaldo and Solskjaer in the same shot with Ronaldo looking really upset. And that's the picture that is always the headline. So I don't know whether Ronaldo really is upset all of the time, looking depressed, and Solskjaer looking baffled all of the time as to what is football after all. But you have to try and capture that in one shot every game at the moment, a different one every game. I mean, they could just use the same one over and over, couldn't they?
What I do find funny is, isn't it that Ronaldo has won a trophy every season for like the last 14, 15 seasons? It's going to be amazing when he doesn't win one this season. I hope these sort of things don't come back to bite me and they do actually go and win something. And
next weekend.
Yeah, true. Flipping heck. That would be a bit embarrassing, wouldn't it? But then, to be fair, I mean, this weekend, obviously, Salah does what Salah does, and Firmino scored a hat-trick within the 6-yard box, which I found hilarious.
Yes.
Watford were crap.
They would drag.
Because sometimes you have your new manager comes in and, they kind of light a spark in there. And Ranieri definitely didn't do that. They were all over the place at the back, so can't really say too much about that. But it is nice to see that all of Liverpool's front three are either first, third, or fifth in the goal scoring charts, and I think if we stay like that, then we would definitely be up there.
Yeah. The one I wanted to really mention, I suppose, was I did actually want to mention, not about, the United game, Leicester, was about the lineup. Not about United, but about Leicester, actually, because I'm just looking to see what they gave Maddison. They only gave Maddison at 6.7. He had the least amount of... the goalkeeper only got 6.1. But I thought Maddison played really well. I only saw the highlights, but he had something in all of it,
He's one of the better rated players on the BBC Sport thing as well. I don't know. It's a bit of a shame, really.
And also on the point scale, they gave Manchester United not very good. De Gea actually got less than Maguire.
And
that's saying something.
His fault? I don't think any of the goals were particularly his fault, were they?
No. Pogba only got a 5.2. And he was above Maguire.
I didn't realise this. Solskjaer obviously remember something completely different because he didn't have Fred or McTominay. He had Pogba and Matic.
Yeah.
That evidently didn't work.
No. You see, that. It won't. It can't. That can't work. It just can't work. You cut Pogba working behind that front. The four. Just it never will work. It never will work. You can't play Pogba behind those four. What's he supposed to do? For goodness sake! What's he on the football pitch to actually achieve?
Yeah.
He's got nothing to do.
I mean, if you just look at their lineup, it's the number of players you associate with being very good at defending. You obviously have your back five, but then in terms of like keeping a shape and making sure that the opposition don't break you down so easily, Ronaldo doesn't do anything. Greenwood ain't going to do anything. Neither is Sancho, neither is Bruno, neither is Pogba. And in
No,
terms of keeping shape and keeping stable as a team, they do not have that.
well, you've got all the attacking teams, attacking players, and all your defending players, and bugger all in between is what you've
It
got.
is, like when you used to do attack versus defense as a kid, like when you were training as a 10-year-old, that is what United
That is
have.
what you've got, isn't it?
Yeah.
They got nobody in there to win the ball back.
No.
Is there? There's nobody to win the ball.
It is insane, isn't it? I mean, with the other top three, you can associate defensive-minded midfielders. You have Fabinho, Kante, and Rodri.
Yeah.
Here, you're like Matic, who, by the way, is 34, 35 and is way past his peak.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. It's stupid. And I love the interview with Solskjaer afterwards. And he just didn't know what to say. He got nothing. Oh, no, it didn't work. Something's not right. What? Yeah. Something's not right. What? Well, just something's not right. We've got to learn what it is. And I'm thinking, how many times can you learn? I mean,
I really don't think it's like, maybe like all the shape kind of thing and all that stuff is beyond my comprehension. But buying Sancho and not buying a CDM seems to be extremely stupid.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. So if they beat Liverpool next week,
mate,
we'll have a lot to talk about.
We will.
And the one game that is worth discussing is tomorrow's, or tonight's, in fact, or whenever you watch it. Because that game is Arsenal versus Crystal Palace.
Be good.
I'm looking forward to that one. I will be home from work by then, in fact, because it's a younger group at the youth club, so I will be home for that. So I'm looking forward to that one. The other game, poor old Norwich will be playing at Chelsea on Saturday. Good luck to them. Watford are away at Everton. Good luck to them. Leeds Wolves. Leeds need to do something. I was listening to a Wolves fan talking about we're going to be in the top 6. We're doing so well. I think he's dreaming a little bit. And Southampton again get their opportunity of winning another one. They're at home to Burnley. But how about Brighton, Manchester City then?
Could be interesting, couldn't it?
Manchester City can't score goals. They scrape the 1 or 2.
Yeah, only a 2-0 against Burnley, which at home, like, I mean, we've associated City in the past with scoring about 5 or 6.
Yeah, they can't do it now. Do you reckon?
They are struggling.
Do you reckon Brighton stand a chance?
They do if they played like they had done before, but drawing 0-0 against Norwich isn't the best result, is it?
No.
And from the highlights, it didn't seem to pose too much of a threat either.
But I would suggest that if you want to go to a pub to watch any football, then Sunday, having talked about pub football, Sunday is your day. I don't know which game you want to watch at 2:00. I don't know, I presume both of them will be on. It's Brentford Leicester. Brentford against Chelsea. My goodness, Chelsea backs to the wall for about 20 minutes. It was all Brentford. Chelsea were lucky, is the only way I can describe that. Lucky. Brentford Leicester, wow. West Ham, Tottenham, and United, Liverpool. I think I may be going to the pub on Sunday.
I imagine you probably will.
Where's my diary? Got a horrible feeling I'm going out.
Hope not. Where are you going?
I'm out. Right. Anyway, we'll be back in the evening.
Human.
Yeah.
I bet it's something not even very important either.
I can't. Well, it depends if they watch it. We're going to see some friends, so I have to say it is. Okay. With that, we'll say goodbye, and next week the topic to let you start thinking, everybody and Kieran. If you'd have a look at Kieran's scruffy face, okay, his razor blew up, and he's got a new one. And so we're expecting a decent-looking Kieran next Sunday evening. Okay, so we're going to judge Kieran's scruffiness, but I want Kieran to come up with the best bearded 11 against the best non-bearded 11 and tell me which team would win.
Blimey. What a question that is. That's one of the best ones we've had on it.
Okay, bearded versus unbearded, Kieran, and I expect to see you smartened up, ready for Sunday. Okay.
Smartened up. Yes, boss.
Okay, the bearded 11 versus the unbearded 11. Clean shaven. And we'll say goodbye. Kieran, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
And it's goodbye from me. Goodbye.